Here's how to add an assignment. You'll want to go to Quick Tools and select the Assignments tool. This will pull up an overview of all the assignments in this course. The categories here refer specifically to assignment categories, not necessarily grade categories. Click the blue New Assignment button to start. The very first thing to do is to give your assignment a name. Then you'll decide if this is going to be ungraded or graded. I'll give it a 100-point value, and then I'll click in Gradebook for more options. Edit or link to existing will give you two options. The first is to create a new grade item with the same name as the assignment. If you already had set up grade categories, you can choose the grade category here. In this case, I don't have grade categories, so I will just click in this white space to close. If I had chosen link to an existing grade item, I could pull down this drop arrow and see what existing grade items there are. Since there aren't any that I need, I'm going to stick with the create a new grade item and click OK. From here, I'm going to use the calendar tool to select a due date and a due time. 11:59 is at the bottom, but there are other time increments in 30-minute increments. This text area here is where you can add your assignment instructions, and it's full rich text, so you can add links. Here you can upload a file. This next icon lets you pick a file that's already uploaded. You can even add video instructions. Now, if I draw your attention over to the right-hand side, clicking on the text will expand. So for availability dates and conditions, you could optionally select a start and end date window. You could also optionally add release conditions such as students can't view Essay 1 until they've completed Quiz 1. And you can also give special access. These are like individualized due dates for some students who might have exceptions. Let's expand the submission and completion area. Here you can choose whether it's an individual or group assignment. And then this category, again, refers only to assignment category, not gradebook category. So most of the time, I leave it blank. You have some choices for submission type. File submission gives the students a place to upload a document. Text submission is often used sometimes if you just want them to type in like a little box just like this one, maybe a reflection or maybe some feedback. On paper submission gets rid of the area for them to submit, but it still gives you an item to grade. And then the last one is observed in person, might be used in cases like class presentations. The next decision we have to make is how many files are allowed per submission. Unlimited is the default, but if you only want one file attached, you could change it to one file. Under allowable file extensions, you have some choices. No restrictions is the default, but if you go down the list, you'll see that there's also PDF only, annotatable files only, files that can be previewed without conversion only, images and videos only, custom file types, and compatible file types with Turnitin. So whatever you decide is fine. If you do choose the custom file types, you could enter the file extensions that you'll allow, followed by a comma. So that's one way of doing it. If you have any questions, just click on this question mark and it'll give you more information. So the submissions area asks if all submissions are kept, only one submission is allowed, or only the most recent submission is kept. I definitely recommend either the first or the last. That way, if a student accidentally submits the wrong file, it's not a problem for them to attach the correct file without having to email you. I find it saves a lot of frustration from the student as well as emails to the teacher to allow multiple submissions. That's just what I've experienced when supporting faculty. So consider choosing all submissions are kept or only the most recent submission is kept, but do not restrict only one submission. If you would like to be notified whenever a student submits their assignment, you could enter your email here and it will give you a notification. Moving on to evaluation and feedback. The first choice is the rubrics. You can click Add Rubrics to add from an existing rubric or create a new one. The learning objectives, you could assign a learning objective to this assignment. In this case, I don't have any learning objectives built. This checkbox says Make Annotation Tool Available for Assessment. I find that helpful in giving student feedback. This checkbox says you could hide the students' names during assessment. So depending on your grading style, you can choose to check that or not. And then the last choice is a Turnitin integration. So if you click on Manage Turnitin, you can click this top checkbox to enable the similarity report. And I highly recommend also allowing the students to see their own reports so they can get better at citing and writing. If you need additional options for Turnitin, click on More Options. It will open a pop-up box that will have even more settings. So if you ever get stuck, just hover over the question mark icon and you can get more information about all of these Turnitin settings. And pro tip, click the box that says Save this for future use. So any settings that you set up here, it will remember. So when you go to do assignment 2, it will remember your settings. Go ahead and click Save. And the last thing to do is check to make sure it's visible. It will save you a couple of clicks for later, and then click Save and Close. And here is your new assignment. This icon here represents it's included in the gradebook, and this icon here shows that it has Turnitin enabled.